Before a recent meeting of the American Group Psychotherapy, I reported on some work that I had done with a homosexual over a period of slightly more than 10 years. I pointed out initially that an increasing number of physicians, psychiatrists, are reporting that they are obtaining favorable results in the treatment of the homosexual. I made it clear at that time that I was not presenting any new or unique form of treatment of the homosexual, but I pointed out that I did feel that psychiatrists were very often not willing to commit themselves to the treatment of the homosexual, and I do feel that this has been brought about by an attitude that prevails among them that homosexuality cannot be favorably influenced by treatment. I believe it was Bacon who some years ago said that the greatest single obstruction to the advancement of human knowledge is the recognition of authority. Now, Sigmund Freud is indeed a great authority in the field of psychiatry, and almost a generation ago he pointed out quite pessimistically that he was not impressed with the results obtained in the treatment of homosexuality. And I feel that many psychiatrists continue to avoid the treatment of the homosexual, and few have really tried. Now, at that meeting I also pointed out that there are a great many varieties of homosexuals, that they differ from one to another. We excluded from treatment those that we classify as the sociopaths, that are commonly referred to as the queer or the faux. We have none of these in our groups. We dealt primarily with those who are neurotic, and we pointed out that rather prolonged treatment is necessary. Now, the group approach to neurotic disability is not a new one. I personally have been using group psychotherapy for about 27 years. I began to treat homosexuals in exclusively homosexual groups a little over 10 years ago, and I presented at this meeting my belief that this afforded a better approach. First of all, when the homosexual comes into a group, he finds tolerance and acceptance, not only from the therapist, but from fellow homosexuals. We do not have any limited goal in our treatment. That is, we do not inform him that we hope to help him live comfortably with his homosexuality. We regard his homosexuality as but one symptom of an overall maladjustment. In the group, those who feel that they would prefer to remain homosexual pretty quickly have this rationalization broken down by the other members. By being in a group, there is a more rapid exploration of unconscious motivation, of the pattern of behavior, and the group motivates its members toward change. They grow by identification with those who are knowing some degree of success, and in the group they find a feeling of belonging, and there is a constant contagion of hope, and as the members in the group begin to undergo change, they are supported in their efforts to change by the other members of the group. I think it is well to point out that homosexuality is an experientially determined illness. And the important experiences are the relationship of the boy with his parents. First, the relationship with the mother is very important. The mother may be a very seductive individual who would encourage her boy to remain home and help her weed the garden rather than play with his peers. She may also be very threatening and very hostile in her relationship toward him. There is also another factor, that there is usually a disturbed relationship with the male parent. The father is either a weak figure, he may be absent, or he may be a very harsh and rejecting individual. Then a third important factor is that there is, as a rule, friction between the parents. There is interparental rivalry for the role supremacy. The child becomes involved in this and is incapable of making an effective identification with his own sex. While this paper we presented focused attention upon the treatment of homosexuality, we feel that the prevention is an area that is far more fruitful. And we feel that in prevention, parents should be encouraged to permit their child to maintain effective relationships with their peers, that they should not be drawn out of the play activities of their peers, and that every effort should be made to keep them integrated with the mainstream of activities with the boys and girls of their same age.
Dr. Yu.
From our work with the homosexual, we firmly believe that it's an experientially determined pattern of behavior. And we have found certain common factors to those that have been under study. First, there is a disturbed relationship with the mother. The mother may be seductive, or she may be harsh and rejecting. There is also a disturbed relationship with the father. In many instances, the father may be weak, he may be absent from the family, or he may be a harsh, rejecting individual. There is also the factor that there is a conflict between the parents, a struggle for supremacy, so commonly because the mother is unwilling to assume a more passive feminine role.
Doctor, you mentioned that the sociopath, the flagrant homosexual, is quickly weeded out. Is there any hope for this type of homosexual?
I have had so little experience with this type of individual because they quickly drop out of treatment if we do see them, that I can't answer that. However, there are instances where such individuals have been treated in a restraining institution or under the aegis of the law where favorable results have been reported.
Doctor, what type of success have you met with? Can you talk about the frequency of success, or the averages?
I think you can appreciate it's very difficult to gauge success, but we have gauged it by not only the patient's report on his behavior, but that which the changes we observe in the group, reports from his family, friends, and others. And I feel that approximately 1/3 of those patients who remain in treatment can be helped to affect a heterosexual pattern of behavior.
Doctor, how much does society's attitude toward the homosexual play a part in the difficulty or ease to cure the homosexual patient?
Well, I feel most homosexuals have been traumatized by the authoritarian figures in their early life. They build up a good bit of hostility towards society, and society's constant rejection of the homosexual certainly causes them to, at times, become more determined to remain in their homosexual pattern. It is this very thing, however, that the group so frequently succeeds in breaking down.
Doctor, do you have any suggestions as to laws that may be passed to ease the homosexual problem?
I don't have any feeling about the need for any particular legislation, but I do feel that the attitude that ought to be changed is the attitude of the psychiatrist, the attitude of the community, so that they regard homosexuality as a treatable disease rather than an affliction that ought to be punished by prison sentences and harsh legal attitude toward those who are afflicted.
Has there been any instance in those homosexual patients who have achieved a heterosexual relationship relapsing back into a homosexual pattern?
Oh, yes. Several who have felt an initial success have relapsed, and as a rule, they return to treatment, and several have progressed to a successful adjustment.